Well, it's a film that generated a lot of buzz when it was announced and when it was being shot, thanks to the fantastic combination of actors and director. It's a film that generated a lot of buzz 2 weeks before its release, thanks to a certain element wanting a ban on it in our neighboring country. But hopefully, it'll generate the real buzz once it releases and the audience and the box office registers do all the talking. The team of the film joins us. The film is called Phantom. Welcome to NewsX, both of you. Is that the thought, that hopefully the real talking will be done by the audience and the box office register?
I mean, you know, all kinds of things can create a buzz for the film, which is also good because the film gets talked about. But ultimately, it's the film that has to talk, and I'm sure when people see Phantom, that's when the real buzz will start.
क्या तुमने ये साबित कर दिया कि मुंबई हमला हाफिज सईद ने किया था? हाँ जी, 6 साल हो गए, छक मार ली तुमने.
But did you expect, the kind of controversies that it has generated now? When you first got the script, taking you down, memory lane now, when you first got the script, narrated it, did you expect all this?
Very honestly, I actually thought there would be more around it, because I did think it was such a sensitive and such a volatile topic. When I think the film came to release, then I think we had all kind of settled down, and that was my reaction when I heard the script. I remember asking Kabir that, are you sure you want to make this film? Like, is it safe to make this film? Is this really, what you want to do?
Yeah.
And, he had done all his research and everything was together, and it was an amazingly written film. Very, very engaging and very, very well crafted. And then when the film released, it was coming for release, and maybe that went a little bit to the back of my mind. And then when I slowly saw it happening, these little, controversies and all that, then I remembered, okay, yes, this is something that we kind of expected.
And I know you co-wrote it with the author of Mumbai Avengers. Was that the inspiration, when it was being made?
Totally. So when Hussain came to me with it wasn't a book at that point in time, it was just an idea, and he came and narrated this idea to me. I had, like everybody, I think, in this country, we've always been trying to grapple with what needs to be done with terrorism, and why is it that we cannot do a strong sort of a counter-terrorist, operation. Of course, there are certain reasons I understand in real life it cannot be done, and there are certain limitations there. But when Hussain gave this idea, I said this really reflects, in some sense, the public consciousness, and it'd be interesting to sort of play it out. At least cinema gives us the liberty to do things that we cannot do in real life, and I thought, in some sense, it'll be a cinematic catharsis for all of us, everybody in the country who remembers 26/11.
Absolutely. And as Saif said, there was not as much controversy when the book actually released. But now, because it's a movie, with larger-than-life stars, and you're a big banner director, that's why there's this whole buzz and this controversy. True. And in a way, it's it's self-publicity for the people as well who are attacking you.
True. Yes. The mainstream cinema, I've often said, is probably the most powerful medium in this country. So obviously, when you mount a film as a mainstream film, it's bound to get much more attention than a book. Add to it the fact that it's dealing with 26/11, add to it the fact that it has stars like Katrina and Saif. Everybody suddenly took notice of this film coming, and then, of course, surprisingly, we got, well, not surprisingly, but we got noticed by Mr. Hafiz Saeed himself, and then surprisingly he went and filed this petition at the Lahore High Court that in some sense actually created this tremendous buzz on both sides of the border about what is this film that Hafiz Saeed himself seems to be nervous about. This is a man who's the most wanted terrorist in the world. The $10 million bounty on his head doesn't seem to bother him. The dossiers India sending about him don't seem to bother him. Being banned by 50 countries doesn't bother him, but the film seems to be making him nervous. So I think that started the whole buzz about the film.
मुझे उसे मारने का एक मौका मिला था तो मैं नहीं जाने दे सकता था, no matter what the cost. I don't know him.
मुझे उसकी मर्डर में क्यों इन्वॉल्व किया?
That was a stupid mistake. The mission is over.
Yeah. And as you've always maintained, since you all came and released the trailer, that it's not an anti-Pakistan film. It's anti those few elements. It's not anti a country.
Definitely, it's a film against terrorism, which I think most of the free world agrees with that sentiment. Definitely not a film on anti-Pakistan. It's just unfortunate that happens to be a country where perhaps some of the people who the government believe are behind 26/11 attacks may reside. But it's definitely not against the people of Pakistan for sure.
Absolutely. And you were on a few debates, with Saif when the film actually got banned, and it was good because you actually got a taste of both rational elements within Pakistan
Yes.
and irrational ones as well, pretty much proving your point.
Absolutely. There are extremists on both sides of the border. We have extremists in our society too, and they have extremists on their side. And yes, there is an extremist voice over there, which was in some sense, very glad that, Hafiz Saeed got the film banned, and they said that's what the film deserves. And then there was this liberal voice also that felt a little, I think, embarrassed about the fact that suddenly Hafiz Saeed in some sense trying to represent their country and is saying that not only is the film against him, it's also anti-Pakistan, which is something I totally reject. By being anti the masterminds of 2611 doesn't mean we are going against the people of Pakistan, and that's a very clear distinction that we must always maintain in our representations. Unfortunately, a lot of times we don't maintain that. When it becomes this whole position of us and them, then it, all the subtle distinctions sort of blend in. But we should always maintain that. I think there is always a certain difference, and this I've noticed in my travels as a documentary filmmaker, reporting on conflict zones all over. There's always a difference between the establishment and the people, and you cannot put the responsibility of the actions of the establishment and the outfits the establishments support onto the common man of a country.
Absolutely, and blame him directly for
Exactly.
that. Speaking about your character though now, which is very well etched out, that's I think one of the the points that always stands out in Kabir's films is that he always etches his characters out very well. You've acted in them before as well. Was that one of the impetuses for signing on the film? Your character is very well etched out, which helps you portray it as well when you're on set.
Definitely. I mean, I thought the character of Nawaz Mistry was very interesting and very important. That the girl was not ornamental in the film. It wasn't we need to put a girl because we need there to be a love story, or we just need an actress. She was completely integral to the entire journey which we go through in the film of Phantom. But I think I kind of would expect that of Kabir. I would be very shocked if he wrote a role for, and then was discussing it with me, which was just ornamental, because we've done such great, roles which I really love together in New York and Ek Tha Tiger and now Phantom. But beyond just my role, I think it was the story of Phantom which honestly really gripped me. When I read the script, I remember when I heard the film, I was just really, really surprised at how well crafted the story was, and how there was just no loose ends and no loopholes or leaps of okay, let's just take some cinematic liberty here. It was just really, really intelligent, and that's what I think is the strength of the film, is that people are going to just see a really intelligent film.
Absolutely. Was there any sort of homework that you needed to do once you signed it, from the part when you signed it, before you came onto set? Was there something that,
Just make sure that I think we had our facts right, and by fact, for me, getting my facts right was really because obviously Kabir and Hussain Zaidi had done their research long before I came on board. Was really just understanding from them what was true, what was fact, what was fiction, where we were blending the lines, and understanding, having all my facts in place so that I kind of, didn't go in blindly or, unclear about the situation.
Yeah, and when you come onto a set like this, which is familiar turf for you, you worked with Kabir Khan before, is that all the more easier, which helps you get into your character and the, the process of acting much easier as well, because there's a certain comfort on set. You worked with Saif before as well.
Yeah, well, not just Kabir, but actually it's Kabir's whole team, which kind of follows him everywhere. Yeah. So that you do feel like when we stepped on set the first day in Lebanon, it did kind of feel like, okay, here I've got my people with me. Yeah. So from the DOP, from the director of photography, SCNG, to the sound, recorders, to the assistant directors, so everyone was kind of, it's very familiar faces, which is nice because we all get on really well, and we all know each other really well, and there's a certain respect and a certain regard everyone has for each other.
Exactly. What about you, Kabir? There's a sense of comfort when you work with someone you have before.
True.
In explaining a scene to them, or probably giving them some feedback after as well, especially.
Yeah, I think one of the most important elements of direction is that there should be good communication between the director and the actor, and obviously the fact that Katrina and I go back such a long way, and we've not only worked on several films together, but have always been in touch. Even the spaces in between the films, and are really close friends today. That helps a lot because the communication is very easy. There is no, confusion in what you're trying to say, in what she's perceiving. It's very easy to sort of discuss and talk whatever you want to about the film, and they makes the whole process really, in that sense, a very smooth going. You know, you're not in any sense trying to juggle personalities, or because you're dealing basically with a friend. So that helps a lot.
Exactly. Well, if we were to categorize phases for actors in their career, which we shouldn't, the media likes to categorize all these things and put stamps, but it seems to be the action phase for you. In terms of some of the movies you've done recently, Ek Tha Tiger, or Bang Bang, and now Phantom. Your next movies don't have any action pretty much at all. But
I think it's just coincidence. Now, when you say it like that, I kind of see what you're saying. But even with Tiger, for me it was not an action film. For me it was a love story, actually, with amazing action sequences. Dhoom 3 for me was not an action film. For me it was about performing and doing songs in a new way. But yes, they are very physically active, and films which require you to be very physical. And I guess maybe because of the training of Dhoom 3, the action in Phantom was that much more easier for me. But yeah, I am happy that my next few films will have less action in them.
exactly. Would
sure.
you enjoy doing them as well? Do you enjoy
Yeah,
doing some of the stunts yourself?
I enjoy both types. I enjoy the films where you're doing nothing and no action, and the films where you have.
Yeah,
a lot
Katrina
of
enjoys action. She's basically quite a fit, athletic person. We work out together a lot, and she works out like a maniac. And so I think she takes to it naturally. I think that jumping, rolling on the ground, jumping over cars.
Yeah, as long as you don't have any injuries, like only once you, unfortunately, I developed a small injury in Dhoom 3, and that created a lot of fear and anxiety in me, because you feel that it's just around the corner. But once I kind of learned that this is how it happens when you have an injury, and you learn how to overcome it, then it's actually really fun. Like especially the Lebanon portion of the action in which you show as Syria in the film. That I was really behind everyone, torturing everyone, give me something to do. So that we had a lot of fun.
There's an underwater scene as well, which is quite which is in the trailer, and I want to see it on the big screen. How was that for you guys? Because that
okay
is,
for me, because again I had the underwater training from Zindagi Naam Legi Dobara, so it was okay. But still, I find underwater shooting just I find it very tough. And Kabir was having a very hard time getting us to hold our breath for long enough. So he's like, okay, listen, if you just go underwater and you hold your breath for 25 seconds, maximum 30, we'll get the shot. So I was like, okay, here we go. Me and Seth would hold our breath, we'd go down underwater, we'd be there underwater for what seemed like an eternity, we'd come back up, we'd be like, got it? And he's like, no, you're only down for about 10 seconds.
It's tough. Though we had, of course, all the scuba divers around us, and at times they would not resurface. They would actually do this shot, and then there would be a scuba diver standing next to them, and they would get the equipment to be breathing over there. But it is tough in water. Communication is difficult. Movement is all cumbersome. And even though I was down with them, because I myself am a scuba diver, so I enjoyed sort of going down with them with the camera. But everything is slow. Everything takes time. The setup for each shot takes time. Then you go down, then you do it, and only when you come back up can you discuss what went wrong, and therefore we should change that. Yeah, but it's a very exciting sequence in the film.
You have to be really patient for something, because these are factors beyond your
But these
control.
are all okay factors. The worst intolerable factor of shooting underwater is being in the pool with your clothes on and then coming out and sitting and waiting for the shot in your wet clothes. That's just horrible.
The whole weight, exactly. That's what makes their job so tough. People think, oh, they've just done the shot and come out looking glamorous, but this is the behind the scenes moments. Do you remember your probably first or second stunt, and before you did it for a movie?
For any movie?
For any movie, yeah.
I would. I really can't remember, so I may be missing something. But I would probably say my first, wires and being, rigged and hand-to-hand fighting was probably Tiger, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, Tiger saw a lot of action.
That for me was not comfortable. See, that's when I learned that there's also a like with dance, you have to get comfortable. You have to learn your way around it. I realized that the action's the same way. You do have to find your approach. Otherwise you're like, am I punching right?
Exactly.
Like, no, you look terrible.
You only find it once it takes time. Yeah. Exactly. But recreating, some of the places, how was that for you? Because Zero Dark 30 did that as well, and that was in Punjab as well.
Yes.
You pretty much did it all over the world and all over the country.
Yes. I think that the way I like to use music in my film is that they have to be a very integral part of the storytelling and part of the narrative. So what happens is that even in my last film in Bajrangi, there are a lot of songs like Tu Jo Mila, which actually was not at all tracking before the film, and suddenly after the film, T-Series told me that it's the most downloaded song of the film, and it had no video support before. So similarly, there's a beautiful love song called Savre by Pritam in this film, and I do believe that once people see the film, of course, Afghan Jalebi is the sort of crowd pleaser, but they'll walk away with Savre, and they'll be humming that song much more once the film comes out.
Absolutely, and recreating it in a music video, because it's it's a very different music video to where it actually is in the movie. How was that? You got that popular Coke Studio singer there, and you got Katrina as well.
I think that was a tricky one for us, and we debated a lot about how do we position a song, a music video, without hurting the integrity of the film, because the film stands for a certain thing, moves in a certain way, and should not send out a miscommunication. And I'm really glad that Ahmed Khan, who's a choreographer, managed to get that right balance where it's enticing enough to enjoy the song. It presents Katrina in the way the audience likes to see Katrina in a song and dance situation, yet didn't take away from the integrity of the soul of the film. So I think it's been a very interesting experience in that sense, getting that film correct, getting Asrar Shah from the Coke Studio to voice it for us. I think he's done a great job. Qazi, the young boy who's actually playing the singer in the music video with that interesting sort of persona that he has. I think it all came together very well. The song's really doing well. It's, as Katrina said, become the sleeper hit, and it's being played all over the place. And it's brought that attention to the film, which is ultimately what we wanted.
Absolutely.
The only thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to go back to Lebanon to shoot the song, which of course the producer was like, no, right here.
Maybe in the sequel.
Yeah.
If it happens. Yeah. But very quickly about the timing. Timing is something you can't control. Like Katrina was saying in one of our earlier interviews, you can't control your movies are releasing with these gaps. You'd hope that it comes closer. And your movie is coming literally like, so soon after Bajrangi Bhaijaan. Is that pretty much the thing, the timing you can't control?
With Phantom, no. With Phantom, actually, Phantom was supposed to come before Bajrangi. Okay. It was supposed to release in April, on the 3rd of April. Right. But sometime in February, what happened is there's another film that UTV was doing, which was holding the date of the 28th August, and that shifted. So when that shifted, UTV decided that 28th August is a better date for them, because I think it has Rakhi on the weekend, and they felt that let's hold it for about 3-4 months and do it. So even though Phantom was ready for release before Bajrangi, it finally is now coming post Bajrangi.
Exactly, and that happened with a couple of other movies as well. That's why the media talks about these gaps now, which seems to be coming.
It happened with Bang Bang and with Phantom. Yeah, these were the two films, and I guess to a certain extent, which was a knock-on effect of these two with Jaga Jasus. Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully after Phantom now releasing on 20th of August, my next 3 films will hopefully make their dates. I feel positive about it.
Yeah, exactly. And is that why you probably think the media, they need to have stories about Katrina? So if it's not about the movies, then they conjecture about other aspects of your life.
I don't think that's reserved just for me. I think it's just kind of the nature of the film industry and the nature of kind of gossip and trivia and going hand in hand with movies. I think it's just kind of.
And I think the motto now is that just don't react. If you don't want to,
Don't react if it's not worth reacting to. Of course, if someone really provokes you, please react if you feel like it. But for the most part, there's no point.
Absolutely. But hopefully it'll be the movies talking for you guys. As I said, after the release of this one and the release of your subsequent films as well. Final message to the audience for Phantom. We've seen the promos. We're loving it. We're waiting for a true blood action movie. We haven't seen that for a while.
I think just to put it in a nutshell, it's I think a truly relevant film. I think it's a film that's in the mainstream space today, speaking the language of what a lot of people in this country are speaking. So I think a very relevant film to our times, and I think that's why it will capture the imagination of the country.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a very, beyond that, it's a very, very well-made film. A film that I think I know we're all really happy with, and it's a very interesting and a new film to watch. When the film ended, even I felt that this was a very, very this was something very new to see here and to see in Hindi cinema. And I think I really have a lot of belief and conviction that people are going to be really pleasantly surprised with the film and really engaged by it.
Well, let's hope for that. And as it says, a story you wish were true. Well, it's coming true in theaters, so you can go and actually see it and appreciate it. And I think that should be the last message, the last word, pretty much. Thank you for speaking with NewsX.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.